Hello, beautiful Pisces. This is Mary Ellen coming to you once again from Moonrise Cottage for your May 2018 Soul Tarot reading. Can you believe that it's almost halfway through the year? I was shocked this morning when that thought landed in my head. I use the beautiful Celtic Wisdom Tarot cards developed by Caitlin Matthews, and the image that you are seeing are the cards from April. And if you're new, welcome, and welcome back to all the returning viewers and subscribers. It's always wonderful to be here with you and to take this journey together. One reminder for everybody out there, especially for the new folks, my website is up at long last. It is moonrisecottagesoultarot.com. And if you want a reading or a consultation of any kind, including distance healing and medium services, please go and check it out. I really appreciate it, and share that with all your friends. So let's jump in. I'd like to just do a reminder about what was happening in April. I'm going to say hello. There I am. Hi, everybody. Nice to be here. Well, we've been having an incredible unfolding. All the signs, certainly true in my life. So I'm going to do a quick review of April. And wait till you see the just mind-blowing continuation of that message. And so, with hindsight, for me as a reader and the streaming information that comes through to me as a channel, we've been talking about unfolding and evolving, emerging into our destiny. And your cards certainly have been all about that. Spirit's reminding me to just sort of remind you, since the beginning of the year, after the challenges and the repatterning that happened in 2017. So again, if you're new and you haven't seen those readings, go and check them out. Some of them are pretty astounding, including the reading that came out in October from the Passage Tombs in the Boyne Valley in Ireland. So there are the cards for April. Very deep transitioning continuing to happen. In the very center of the reading, we see the beautiful woman of skill who holds the sacred spool of destiny in her hands, able to wind her destiny based on that which inspires her. That's what that image is all about. Coming over the top of the reading, we had the image of the soul. And Spirit was talking about the soul journey that you are continuing to have as you weave your destiny. So transitions your soul. And so the card next to the woman of skill who's winding destiny is a card about the soul. It is here again in this month's reading. So the whole discussion was about coming into this journey for a new life, coming into a moment, the moments just before you put your hands on the sword of destiny. And in that moment, going very deep to have a new foundation about the art of spiritual living and the art of being closely aligned with your soul journey. Well, Spirit's correcting me, more closely aligned with your soul journey this year in 2018. That is what our development collectively, Spirit says, is going to be about. And so, of course, for you as a Pisces, it will be divinely ordered, so to speak, to fit the pattern of your energy with which you came in to have this adventure. So if you look at the card on the center row on the far left, that is the beautiful lover of devotion. And so that's the journey you're having, deeper into that which you feel devoted to, tying together your soul journey and your human walk. And just like the beautiful woman of skill who winds destiny around those things that inspire her, on the top row that indicates your soul journey, the first card is the beautiful warrior of skill. His job is to react, so to speak, to the sacred impulse, the inspiration that is delivered to him from the life you are leading, Spirit says. That is why the soul and the woman of skill stand right at the center of that reading. And the impulse was to go deep inside. The very next card is a major arcana card that is the renewer of devotion. And so the love of devotion, the new life that comes, is all about that. Responding to the sacred impulse in order that your devotion and those things to which you give your time and attention and energy can be renewed in order for new growth to happen. So the last card in the spirit realm was all about judgment, coming to a place where you understand that that which you have been, okay, Spirit's saying believing, and there's some chatter about believing in such a way that it attends to your shadow life, and we all have that, and coming to an awareness of that which no longer serves you because the basis of those things are unstable. So with the renewer devotion, standing aligned with the growth element of the judgment of knowledge, we see this beautiful release that is happening because that is the impulse and the inspiration toward which you are moving. It's a beautiful reading. And the outcome card, Spirit was talking all about the full moon and what it is to be aligned with your sacred nature in a yin-yang way, so that your life below here on the earth reflects that which is happening above. And if you look at the cards, we certainly can see that. I love that the outcome card is the dialogue of art, and the full moon was coming just at the end of the month, under which the light of the river of knowledge is able to flow into you because of your alignment with the yin-yang energy within yourself and the flow of energy between your spirit self and your human walk. A beautiful notation. And Spirit was chattering a lot through me. Let me transition back over. There was a lot of talk coming about Pluto and the way in which Pluto affects our lives, and specifically your life, as you transition and change. It is meant to bring upheaval. It's meant to bring the instability that we see in the Judgment of Art card on the top right-hand corner. That's the Spirit saying that's what it's all about. So, interestingly enough, Spirit leaves you last month with this notion of sacred dialogue and being in line with the yin-yang energy in order to have the sacred flow of information come into you so that you can go forward. Because that card is a numeral 2. It means there is a lot of growth coming. And the whole reading, in a sense, was all about spiritual growth and stepping into this new place so that you have the correct foundation in order to go forward with the help of Pluto in your sign. So I'm not an astrologer, most of you know that. I'm suggesting now at this point that you go and look, where in your chart is Pluto stationed? How is it going to traverse over the course of 2018? It's very important that you go and find that information for yourself. If you don't know, you can get a free birth chart online. There are lots of sites in which you can do that. The reason I'm suggesting this is that this month, a whole discussion about Pluto coming right home to roost, Spirit's saying in my ear. And that's what the chatter last month was about. And Spirit's referencing back through the beginning of the year. So if you haven't seen those readings, go and check them out. And if you're pressed for time, watch the last 10 minutes. And it'll give you the wrap up. Okay? So let's go back to the cards. Based on all of that chatter that's been coming through, take a look at this journey for April. And you will be astounded to see what is here to speak with you in order for you to interact with the journey of May. It's phenomenal. And it really blew my mind. And you know, sometimes as a channel, I sit and I shuffle and the cards pop out. And I don't want to see them. I want something else to happen. And it gives me a little bit of pause. So I saw this coming out this way and I thought, well, what's that all about? So let's take a look. It's incredibly awesome. Don't be worried. We see here the challenger of will. Okay, so take a look at the center row, the 2 cards in the middle. If you're new and you don't know, the card in the center right is the spirit theme, the message for the reading, for the month of May. That which is about to transpire, Spirit says. And the card to the left of that is the aspect in which you stand. That's all about Pluto. And I can't wait to talk with you about that. So let me show you the card. Okay, there's the spirit message. the judgment of knowledge. And last month we had the judgment of art, the art of being a spirit being. Now that you have come into that knowledge because of the outcome card last month. All right, Spirit's telling me to toggle back one more time. Okay, so do you see the river of knowledge flowing into you? Because of the alignment of yin yang under the light of that full moon, having come to that judgment and renewal on the spirit realm after responding to the sacred impulse within you so that you can wind your destiny. Amazing. There's the first card, another judgment card. You have come into a form of knowledge that causes you to stand in your life in this way through the month of May. This card, Spirit's telling me to have you look at the fractures, so to speak, in the sky. This is about someone who had to regain their power and stand in themselves, power in hand, and face the obstacles that were coming up through the cracks in their own life, in their own psyche, in their own resistance to self, Spirit says. And take back your power, that which belongs to you, and stand firm in your place, imbued with the knowledge because you have come through the judgment of skill into the judgment of knowledge. And from that place, you regain your strength. So although this card can look a little scary, it's really about being empowered from within you. Based on all the things that were spoken about last month, it's a beautiful opening message. And for those of you that don't know, the mythology about this card is that this gentleman had a certain standing with himself and in his life in general. See if I can get that out of my face. He came to a moment where he began to understand that something was going on in the background and had to come to an end. So in this story, it's about being cheated, so to speak. Someone was stealing from him. He became aware of that and went to those individuals and said, that's enough of that. It's going to stop now. And by the way, give me back what is rightfully mine. Those Spirit's calling energies. All right, so in the story, it was people. All right, Spirit wants me to talk about the energy because it really has to do with you. So in the story, he had to face that, take his power back, and those people who were cheating him and stealing from him were not able to realign themselves. And what happened was they had a spell put upon them. Whoops. Sorry, there's a lot of chatter coming through. So that's interesting that the card dropped at that moment. So Spirit's talking about your energy, the spell that has been over humanity, and the many challenges, Pisces, I've heard from a lot of you, that you are literally facing on your internal being, on your internal pathway, Spirit says. And you've been standing up to them. And this month, you're going to regain a lot of that strength. So those people that were assailing him in a way were turned into beasts and cast into the forest so that the negative energy that they carried and their negative intentions could be seen on the outside for all. It's really interesting as an opening message, given what we were talking about last month. Spirit's chattering about Pluto. I'm going to get to it. Just give me one more moment. So this is about you. This is not about someone's cheating you. You know, some of you may have that literally going on in your life, but this is about you, about coming to your place of power, standing up. This is how it's going to be now, reclaiming yourself, whether it is other individuals or the resistance within you. That is what is of primary importance. And I believe it really has everything to do about the process within. And here's why. Because the very next card, the card that standing under the light of that theme, oops, I'm sorry. Let me go back to May. Standing under the light of that theme of retaking your power and coming to some form of the ability to have a firm judgment and a firm stance in the light of those things that would challenge you. That's the theme this month. Spirit's telling me to direct your eyes to the card in the center or on the far right. and just ruminate on what that looks like given the outcome card from last month. It's a really amazing progression. So, the center card that indicates the aspect that you embody in the light of that thematic message. Astounding! Look at that. That is a major arcana card. That is the Challenger of Will. That is the sacred god of the earthly realm called Cernunnos. It is all about Pluto. All about it, okay? And we're going to get to that. I'm going to actually read to you from the text this month. So this is the Challenger of Will. So in light of the way these two things are standing together, there's a phenomenal amount of strength in the face of challenge. And your internal will is being developed in a way that is unfathomably deep, Spirit says. That is your purpose for this month. And the story that's going to wind around it will help you understand the deeper aspects of the meaning of those two things coming side by side. And like I said, at first I was like, oh my God, what is this all about? And then as the rest of the cards started coming out, I began to understand the depth of the continuation of your journey. So while you look into those cards, I'm just going to read to you about the Challenger of Will. And how, Spirit saying, keep in your mind the notification of the upheaval of Pluto. And the stuff I was talking about last month with Pluto creating upheaval and challenging us all across the earth, shredding form, creating chaos in order to ensure us a positive outcome, because it is meant to initiate the regrowth and the formation of a new way of understanding and a new way of being. And for you Pisces, it's very personal. It's very deeply aligned, with your personal journey. So as always, if you feel so inclined and you feel safe enough, I'd love to hear what's going on. I'm always so curious. So please put some messages on the discussion thread below the video. I really want to know, up close and personal, what is happening, because this is a phenomenal outcome based on what was being spoken about last month. So, the Challenger of Will depicts the god Cernunnos below on the earthly realm, while above the soul attempts to break free from the bondage of ancestral patterns. Cernunnos is the great master of the animals, and Spirit says the earth god. His antlered head caused him to be demonized by Christianity and become associated with the anti-divinity, or the devil. And this would be the devil card in the traditional tarot. Cernunnos, however, is actually an active opponent of restriction, of fear, and of oppression of all kinds. In his legend, he and the figures who derive from him lead the wild hunt to track down those who violate the laws of life. In this depiction, he holds the torque of civilized human beings in his right hand and clasps the head of the primeval ram-headed serpent, an emblem of renewal and consciousness, in his left hand. The Challenger of Will's sole question for you is how you will find the accepted release from fear. He is here to speak the words of liberation and wisdom to those who can hear him. And so the sole question is, how are you limiting yourself? Wow. Seriously. Isn't that amazing? And I've got goosebumps. Pisces, you're on such a powerful journey, and you are coming into your strength. I know it's been challenging, and it is unusual, in my experience, for the spirit guides that, whatever is that universal energy that channels these messages through me, to have this message come to you is really something unusual. And I know the truth of it because of the things that you tell me in your emails and when we do private readings together. I know what's been happening. It's been difficult very deep, very primeval unfolding, Spirit says. So the first card on the human walk is the soul. And I want to remind you, the soul was the opening message for last month's reading, announcing this unfolding. And so I just always want to make sure to continue to weave the messages for you month to month. So that notion of a soul journey has come closer to your actual experience. Last month, it was a discussion from Spirit about your soul journey. And this month, we see the first step on your human journey because of the fact that the knowledge of judgment and the challenger of will are here to help you regain your power and stand strong to release that which has kept you in bondage in whatever way that is true in your life. And the soul is a major arcana card. I'm going to toggle over because I want to show you the card. So look, a starting place, 0, the soul, having its human slumber, all the things that challenge us, coming to an awakening. Do you see the Kundalini awakening along the spine? And the soul rises up and goes through the portal out into the mystical realm to have its sacred journey of renewal, to turn the sacred spiral of its destiny. And that's what last month's message was all about. And here we see it directly, Spirit saying, right at home, right where you live now, brought right down here to the earthly realm for you to really know it with your intellect and experience it with your heart chakra. And so that you will have no doubt, so that you can have faith in the things that are unfolding, some of which are probably difficult, because your will is being challenged in order to help you release yourself and regain your strength. Standing right next to that, we see the beautiful King of Battle. In terms of how the reading is unfolding, nothing could be better than this from my point of view. Remember last month we talked all about the full moon coming? There you go. When you went through that portal and we came through into the month, you were assisted. And coming forward into April, we see the notation of the King of Battle sitting in the light of the full moon. The King of Battle, just like, all right, hang on, Spirit's asking me to do this. Okay, see that? Where you stand and you regain your power. There's the King of Battle, who had to do basically the same kind of thing. Because he was a warrior, he was in a lot of battles, and in one of them, to protect his kingdom, he lost his hand. And when he lost that part of himself, he fell from power. He fell from grace, Spirit says. Through some very mystical events, he regrew his hand. First, he was given a silver hand, which allowed him to go and sit back upon his throne. Eventually, he had a mystical healing, and his human hand grew back. And what's interesting also to me, you see where he's sitting? It almost looks like he's sitting in a graveyard. Okay? It's the night sky, the universe, and the light of the full moon, the portal that Spirit talked about last month. This month, while you're on your soul journey, you have the assistance of and walking in that journey through the realm of the King of Battle in order to regain that which has been lost through whatever way that happened in your life. And in a sense, it's just our human condition. So don't be hard on yourself about these things. Some of you will have a very personal understanding of this message, but also it is true in a very wide perspective. This is the type of battle that you are engaged in, because the King of Battle sits directly below the Challenger of Will. And take a look, just for a moment, at the card that stands above the Challenger of Will. It's a really interesting alignment, and I'll get there, but I just want you to just put your eyes on it for a minute. So, as your soul journeys into the realm of the King of Battle, whose sacred destiny was to regain himself and his power, just like the opening card speaks to, he had a sacred shamanistic type of journey. And there is the beautiful shamaness, here to guide you from your human journey into the alignment it is meant to have with the soul aspect of your being. That is the Queen of Battle, an amazing woman. She has extreme clarity of vision. She has very keen insights. She's come through a lot of obstacles herself and is aligned with the sacred realm in a way that brings the type of transition and mystical healing that the King of Battle was involved in. There's an enormous amount of support for you this month and has been since the beginning of the year. Look at that. She is of the crow people, the raven, Spirit says. So go and look online at the information about raven as a sacred medicine animal. And we see the mystical way, the orange and the purple and the passion and the fire of creation in a sense, Spirit says. She definitely stands with her personal power in her hand. And when she has come through her own transition, it has brought her very closely into alignment with the sacred realm. And she can pass between the realms and guide others on their journey. Pisces. Props to you. This is you. This is where you've come to. This is the last step on your human journey this month. Based on all of the winding of destiny and the awakening and the discussions with Spirit that have been coming through from the first of the year, promising you that you are going to transform and evolve and transition. Here it is. Phenomenal. Okay, so the transition card, the bridge card I call it, that which connects your human walk to your soul reflection. This month is all about feminine energy as a portal, because the very next card is the Queen of Skill. So we have two queens aligned with kings. The Queen of Battle on the bottom right, if you look above to the top right, you see the King of Knowledge. We have the King of Battle, the King of Knowledge, the Queen of Battle, and the Queen of Skill. That in and of itself is deeply speaking to the power that you have within you. Because the Queen of Skill is the one who welcomes new life. Having faced your demons, having faced that fear of transition and regaining your power, of course you go on a soul journey toward a new type of existence. And there it is. That is the bridge. And it is all about, and there's the notification Spirit says of the Queen of Battle, there are the ravens, welcoming you because you have come through in a new form for a new journey. Having been transformed, you see the blue blanket? The other thing I love about this card is that in her dress, we see a notification of the chariot, the mover of energy. We see the horses and the key to a new life having emerged and evolved. This month, it's going to be about facing your fear and vanquishing from you that which no longer serves you, as was promised last month. I'm going to show you one more time. You see the top right-hand card? Having come to this place of inspiration and responding to sacred impulse, you let go of that which no longer serves you, and you begin to allow it to flow away through the aperture of the full moon. And this month, in May, that journey, that prophecy, if you will, has come home to roost. I think it's going to be a really sacred, beautiful, intense month for you, Pisces. The card on the top left is very important to the whole theme of this reading. That is the dedicator. It is the dedicator of lore. It indicates a sacred stepping in, if you will, making a commitment to the sacred lore that lies within you, because that is what we're talking about this month. The dedicator of lore is basically in line, that is a goddess, okay? So the dedicator is receiving the goddess, from the goddess rather, out of the cauldron that we saw last month. You see that on the top spirit realm? It's really fascinating how these things align. So coming out of that cauldron of renewal, you give over your challenges. You release your will. You are being challenged in order to come into yourself in the deepest way. And in that way, that woman, the goddess of sacrifice, that's actually who that is in that card, the dedicator of lore. You become a sacred initiate. You have developed the will through the month of May to release your fears and the things that create bondage in your life in order to have this beautiful renewal, to regrow something of yourself that had been lost. And through so doing, this sacred journey and a new life, and the very first step on the spirit realm, solidifies the work that you are trying to do. That is the image of your soul, stepping in and saying, yes, I will. It is time for a new life. And so I blindfold myself to the sacred lore of the universe in order to have a solid place from which to explore and to dedicate myself to that which I desire, because I am winding the threads of my destiny on a soul journey. And this month, it comes very close to home. Home to roost, Spirit says. So the director of lore, or the dedicator, of lore, it's about making a willing sacrifice to become one with the sacred lore in order to be a transmitter of wisdom. Pisces, you are coming very deeply into your nature in a way that is profound, a willing sacrifice. And it's all about being willing to find your strength and to let go of your fears and to challenge your will to release yourself from that which binds you. And if you look at that card right in the center, the challenger of will, right below it is the king of battle. You have an enormous amount of assistance. And we know that the judgment of knowledge that sits above the queen of battle, basically telling us this is a sacred, shamanistically led journey, deeply into your nature as a Pisces, so that your soul journey can reflect what is happening here on Earth. So if you look at the bottom row of cards about what's going on the Earth in your life, and you look above, there is another notation next to the dedicator of lore about the elopement of art. It's really interesting because the elopement of art is aligned with the challenger of will. One of the things I really truly love about this is, once again, it's about release and getting your power back. This is about two people. It's a long story, so I won't go into it. But they wandered into the lower chambers of a castle and found this giant golden bowl of treasure. And they got stuck to it. And they were no longer able to be in the flow of life and energy to which they were meant to have as their destiny. And it's interesting because last month we were talking about, let me toggle back. Last month we were talking about releasing that which no longer serves you. So the top row about responding to impulse, coming into the sacred bowl of healing in order to have a releasing. And this month we see it literally happening. Those people had to come to a place of balance. And so that is your journey this month. More releasing. They had to become unstuck from the bowl that was not serving them. And Spirit's talking about the challenges of the earthly realm. And if you look at that column, we see the king of battle and the great god of Cernunnos having everything to do with the planet Earth and the energy rising here because of the upheaval of Pluto. Some things being lost and some things being regained. And the most important thing is the regaining of your will in order to release yourself from the bondage that has kept you from where you belong, Spirit says. And going through that process, the outcome card on the spirit realm is the King of Knowledge. You will come into a full understanding of your own self and the new life that is available to you because of this epic journey that you've been on. The outcome card is amazing to me that it is here. Last month, it was the courtship of art, or pardon me, of skill, right? And there we see all the discussion about what that means when you're in alignment with yourself. Sort of a spirit saying a prophecy about what was to come this month, queuing up the journey for this month. Really interesting. So here we are this month, another courtship card. It is the courtship of art. And this card is about the releasing from an obstacle. That couple, Spirit's talking about yin and yang, okay? So I'm not talking with you about a love relationship. I hope everybody who's watching knows that at this point. This is about coming together, just like last month, with the yin and yang energy. So last month it was about this dialogue of knowledge, sacred knowledge that was flowing into you with the opening of the full moon. And here this month, the outcome, setting the stage for next month, another courtship, and this time the art of being in the sacred flow of energy. So I'm going to toggle back. I'm going to have a little bit of discussion about this to help you understand the difference between those two things. And basically, it's about a couple. They were betrothed. They were about to join their energies together to marry, and there was someone standing in the way. A reflection of the entire reading. This card indicates a celebration of alliances, happy outcomes, healing, good fortune, solace, which I love because I know there are a lot of people in pain. It's about satisfaction and satisfactory resolution of a problem, of that which kept them apart from each other, from joining their energies. So the yin-yang of your nature through this intense journey of May is going to come to a wonderful resolution in which you are able to align yourself in this new courtship, this art of being in yourself in a new way. And it's actually, interestingly, it's about observing the laws of the sacred lore, the laws of cause and effect in your own life. Because you have come into the realm of the sacred initiate, the dedicator of lore, you are able to transition, and whatever obstacles stand in your way, look how those two cards are aligned. The outcome and the opening, Spirit says. The judgment of knowledge, where you have to stand up and face that which challenges you in order to come into this outcome that is meant for you. All right, there they are. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Coming to resolution. So basically, oops, wrong one. All right, so these two were getting ready to get married, and there was someone who was jealous, was standing in their way. And they had to find a way to take care of that obstacle. And through some magical assistance, they found a way without fighting and violence and etc. They just outsmarted the obstacle. Put it in a bag. Actually, the obstacle, they sort of came up with an idea to cause the person who was the obstacle to step into this bag. Because it was all about, I want wealth, I want riches, I want things, more than I really want this partner who I'm trying to prevent from sacred alignment. All right. So it's really interesting because we see that notation in the center of the spiritual realm, all about the obstacles, the things that trap you. And we come to this outcome where there's alignment and resolution because they just had this person step into this bag that was filled with treasure and said, there's a lot of wealth and riches in there. We're going to give this to you as a gift. And the person stepped in, and the bag itself swallowed him up. They tied in a little bow and just hung it on a hook and went forward with their strength and with their knowledge and with their alignment. So there's a new courtship coming based on that which you will do in May. It's an amazing message. Thank you, Pisces. I'm going to leave you with the cards. Thank you for everything you're doing. I cannot wait to hear about your journey. I appreciate so much your strength and your dedication and your willingness to be on this journey and to be here with all of the rest of us, providing us with the very important energy that you have inside your being as you take your journey. Have a wonderful month of May. I'm very much looking forward to speaking with you again in June. Thank you, everyone.